Do you want to learn how to make this super cute Halloween bag? Then stay and watch this video. Hello fellow crochet friends, welcome to my video. So I'm going to be showing you how to make this super adorable bag from beginning to end. So I'm going to be showing you how to make the squares and how to construct it and get your own little candy corn bag. I have gotten a few requests on my shorts video when I uploaded it. So I thought because Halloween is approaching very quickly, I might as well show you how to make this super cute bag. And yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in that video. All right, so for this project, you're gonna need some white yarn, some orange yarn, some yellow yarn, some black yarn. I am using this red heart yarn and the color is black gold. You can always use some regular black yarn. If you don't have any of this, it's completely okay. It'll still look pretty good. You're also going to need a 5.5 millimeter hook, some scissors, a needle, and of course a stitch marker. So the first thing that we're going to be working on is the granny square. So you're going to go ahead and grab your black yarn or your sparkly black yarn, whichever. And you're going to go ahead and create a magic circle or a magic ring. You're going to go ahead and chain 2. And you're going to go ahead and do 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. You're going to go ahead and chain 2. And then do another 3 double crochets. These 3 double crochets are known as a cluster. And each of these chain 2s are going to be a corner. So you're going to go ahead and keep repeating the same sequence of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, until you have a total of 4 corners. Okay, so once you reach your last chain 2, instead of creating another cluster, you're just going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet that we did. Close up your magic ring and you should have a little square. From here you're going to go ahead and chain 2, and then normally in a traditional granny square you're going to go ahead and head to that first corner, but with this one I'm actually going to make it more of like a closed granny square. So I'm going to be creating 1 double crochet in each of the stitches that we created, and then we'll head to the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches that we created. And then in this first corner, we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets. That's 1, 2. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 2. And then do 2 more double crochets in that same corner. All right, so that way we create our first corner. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and do 3 double crochets. And then you're going to head to that second corner and you're going to repeat that same thing of 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets. And you're going to go ahead and repeat the same sequence all the way around until you reach the very end. So once you have reached your last corner, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet that we created. All right, and that is your second row here. So for the next one, we're going to go ahead and chain 2 again. And we're going to go ahead and create 1 double crochet in the next 5 stitches here. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, this first corner here, we're going to go ahead and do that normal corner that we do. So it's going to be 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. Okay, now once we get here, you're going to go ahead and create 1 double crochet in the next 7 stitches. Okay, so you're just going to keep doing 1 double crochet, and then reaching your corner will be 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and then you're going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet in the next couple stitches until you reach the corner. You're going to go ahead and repeat that all the way around until you reach your last corner here. Also, to keep in mind, when you do get in the corner, sometimes that first little stitch gets hidden in the 2 double crochets that you created. So you want to make sure you don't skip that, or else you're going to lose count and then your square is going to get all messed up. So once you've reached the last corner here, you're still going to have 2 stitches left. So you're going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet in each of those stitches. And then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet that you created. You're going to go ahead and chain 1. And you're gonna go ahead and finish it off here. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and weave in your end here, and you are done with your first square. So you're gonna go ahead and repeat the same pattern and create 12 more squares, so you can have a total of 13 squares. So when you're done with your 13 squares, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the candy corn. So you're going to go ahead and grab your yellow yarn, and we are going to make 12 chains. So from here, starting on that second chain from the hook, you're going to go ahead and single crochet, and then you're going to go ahead and single crochet all the way across. So you're going to have a total of 11 single crochets. All right, now that you reach the end, you're going to go ahead and chain 1. You're going to turn your work, and from here we're going to do 1 decrease, and then we're going to do 7 single crochets. All right, and then in these last 2 we're going to go ahead and do a decrease. Now in this one we are going to be changing color. So once you have your decrease, instead of finishing your decrease, you're going to go ahead and grab your orange yarn, and then you're going to finish that decrease with the orange yarn. Okay. You're going to go ahead and chain 1 with the orange. You're going to cut off the yellow, and we're going to carry on with the orange. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and turn our work. We're going to create a decrease here, and then we're going to go ahead and single crochet in the next 5 stitches. And then we're going to go ahead and do another decrease. So you're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch here. All right, so we're going to do 1 more row with orange here. You're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn your work. You're going to go ahead and do a decrease, and then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then do another decrease. Now before you finish this decrease, we're going to go ahead and grab the white yarn and finish that decrease with the white yarn. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish the decrease here. And then you're going to chain 1, cut off the orange. All right, so you're going to turn your work, and then you're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches here. All right, and from here you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to go ahead and do a decrease. Then you're going to do 1 single crochet and another decrease. And go ahead and chain 1 again, turn your work. We're going to decrease these 3 together. So you're going to go ahead and, instead of doing a regular decrease, you're going to go ahead and include the last one here. You're going to have 4, and then just pull your yarn through all of them. Okay? And from here, instead of finishing it off, we're actually going to continue working some single crochets all the way around the candy corn. Now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to start on one side and just do a single crochet all the way around. That way it has a clean edge. And it doesn't matter how many single crochets you create, as long as you have like a nice clean edge. All right, once you've reached the top, you're just gonna go ahead and slip stitch into that first single crochet you made, chain 1, and you're gonna cut off a long tail because you are going to be sewing this to your square, but you also have the option of not sewing it on. You can glue it on if you'd like, so it's completely up to you. I personally like to sew it on just for a little security. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off a long piece of yarn here, and I'm going to pull it through, and you're going to go ahead and just cut off all of these, or you can use the other side, whichever you want. And you're going to go ahead and create 12 more of these, so you can have a total of 13, so one for each square basically. All right, so once you're done with all your candy corns, we're going to move on to another candy corn, but this one is going to be a smaller candy corn. So you're going to go ahead and use the same 3 colors that we used for the bigger one. So you're going to grab your yellow, and then you're going to go ahead and chain 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're going to go ahead and do a single crochet starting from the second chain from the hook. And you're going to go ahead and single crochet all the way across, so you can have a total of 5 single crochets. Now on the last single crochet, you're not going to finish it because you're going to go ahead and grab your orange yarn. You're going to go ahead and finish that single crochet, just like the big candy corn. You're going to go ahead and cut off the yellow yarn, and you're going to chain 1, okay? From here, you're going to turn your work. You're going to go ahead and do a decrease. You're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet and then another decrease. You're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and then do 1 single crochet in all of these stitches. Except on the last one, we're actually going to change to white. So don't complete that single crochet. You're going to grab your white. You're going to go ahead and complete your single crochet here. You're going to cut off the orange. Then you're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn your work. You're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches here. Chain 1, turn your work. And then you're going to go ahead and decrease all 3 of these together, or I guess you could say single crochet 3 together right here. Okay, you're going to go ahead and chain 1. You have the option of cutting off a long tail so you can sew it on. I'm going to glue these on to my bag, so I'm just going to cut off a small little tail here. And you're going to go ahead and, depending on how many straps you're going to make, so if you want your bag to have 2 straps, you're going to make a total of 4 little candy corns. If you only want to have 1 strap for your bag, then you only need to make 2 of these. I'm going to make 4 because I want 2 straps for my bag. So it's completely optional on how many you want. Okay, so once you've done sewing on your square to your candy corn, and if you still have some yarn left, you can actually just weave it in and out through the candy corn, and then you can cut off the end. I usually like to do like random stitches like this because I feel like it secures it a little bit more. It's totally up to you on how you want to do it, but this is how I like to do it. And sometimes, like, I don't feel like cutting it off. I can just stuff it into the candy corn here, and you won't be able to tell. All right, and there is your little candy corn square. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the best part, which is the construction of the bag. All right, so on the screen now, you should be seeing this diagram. So this is the diagram that I'm going to be following to sew my squares together to create the bag. So I'm actually going to be starting from the very top, and I'm going to be sewing those together. And then basically it's like a whole little tiny snake That way you're just sewing them all together at once instead of sewing them individually. I thought that was a whole lot easier than when I first made this bag because I was individually doing it until I discovered that you can just go ahead and just do it all at once. The only ones that you're not going to be sewing together are the ones on the very far right and far left, but that's better than having to sew each individually, you know. So one thing before I forget to mention is because this bag is going to be folded in half, you want to make sure that the bottom half is actually upside down. That way the candy corns are all facing the right direction when you sew them all together. So we have very top, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then number 6 you're going to go ahead and put upside down. From 6 all the way to 11 you're going to go ahead and put them upside down, okay? And the rest of them could be upside right, I guess, the right side up. So I'm going to go ahead and begin sewing. Now you do have the option of sewing it with a needle. Personally, I like to crochet them all together. That way I am not guessing as to how much yarn I'm going to use for sewing them all together. I'm going to go ahead and grab my hook and my black yarn. And personally, I like to start from the bottom up, but you can go ahead and start from the top to the bottom. It's completely up to you. I'm actually going to sew them right sides together. Basically, it's going to be like that, and I'm going to sew it on top here. Instead of the 2 wrong sides together, it's going to be the 2 right sides together, and then I'm going to sew them or crochet them together. I guess that's the correct term. I'm actually going to be starting from the corner here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just single crochet them all together through each stitch. I'm just going to go ahead and single crochet all the way across. Alright, so once I get to this corner here, so this is how it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the pattern. And then I'm going to see which one I'm going to be single crocheting next. So it looks like it's going to be this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it, put it on top here, and then I'm going to go ahead and single crochet. So basically I'm just going to keep following that little diagram that I made and just going all the way around until I have my whole bag completed. Okay, so I have finished majority of the bag here. You can't really see it from my camera angle. See if I can turn it around here. So basically I sewed all of the ones here, and I only have 2 more left to sew at the very top. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew them together across here and across here. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and start constructing the bag. Okay, so I have officially finished my bag here. So here comes the best part. We're going to go ahead and sew the bag together. Okay, so from the bottom piece, you're going to go ahead with these 2 at the very end. You're going to go ahead and match it just like that to the top 2. Okay, and then these 2 that you see right here, you're actually going to be folding them in half, and then it'll create your bag. What you're going to do is with these 2, you're going to go ahead and sew them together. If it makes it easier for you, because it does get kind of confusing when you first sew this one, you can go ahead and actually use some like safety pins, or you can use some stitch markers, or even pins like sewing pins, just to pin it down. That way you know what you're going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this here, or I guess crochet it, and then I will meet you guys back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker here. So this is how your bag should look like, all nice and sewn. You can go ahead and turn it inside out, and that's how it's going to look. I'm going to go ahead and make the border, and then we're going to make the straps. So for the border, I'm actually going to use some regular black yarn. It's super simple. All you're really going to do is you can start anywhere you want. You can start from this side, you can start from the corner here, doesn't matter. what you're gonna do is with a slip knot here, I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1. And what you're gonna do, you're just gonna go ahead and do a single crochet in all of these stitches. And you can use your stitch marker, that way you don't lose track of where you started. And that's pretty much all you're gonna do. You're just gonna go ahead and do a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. And it is up to you as to how big you want the border. On my original purse, I made it about 4 rows, but I think for this one, I'm just gonna make maybe 2 rows of single crochet, and then I'll start on the straps. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on this border, and then I will meet you back here when I am done. All right, so I'm just now finishing up my second row, which I'm actually okay with. Like I said, it depends on you if you want it thicker or not. I just want 2 rows of single crochets here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch to this first stitch that I made, and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut this off. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and weave in this end. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Okay, so now we're going to head on to the last part here, and that is to make the straps. Now, I did mention earlier in the tutorial that it is up to you if you want to make 2 or 1 strap. If you want to make 2, you can go ahead and do it with these little corners here. If you only want to make 1, you can actually just go ahead and make it from like this side here. I'm going to make 2 straps because I did make 4 candy corn. I'm going to go ahead and figure out just how thick I want my strap to be. I think I'm going to make it about 5 stitches wide. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of stitch markers. That way I know which ones I'm going to be using. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it for the other side too. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. All right, so once I have my general idea on where I want my straps to be, so we're actually going to go from here to this end. So first from here to here. Now, the way this is going to work, we're actually going to start on the second stitch instead of the first one where your stitch marker is. We're going to start on the second one. Now, the reason why, it's because these last 2 stitches are going to be the border of the strap. So they are going to be in 2 different colors. So one border is going to be in orange and the other one's going to be in yellow. So we're going to basically do these 3 in black, and the last 2 are going to be the different colored ones, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab my black yarn, and I'm going to make a slip knot here. All right, and on that second stitch, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook there, and we're going to do chains. I'm going to make a total of about 130 chains. It is up to you as to how long you want your straps to be. Personally, 130 chains is pretty good. If I do make any changes, I will let you guys know, but usually 130 is what I go for. All right, so now that I did my 130 chains, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it is all nice and straight, because you don't want your strap to be going a different direction and get all tangled up and weird. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into that second stitch from the first stitch marker on the other side of my bag. Starting here, and I ended here, okay? So from here, you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to go ahead and turn your work, and you're going to do a single crochet in each of those chains that you did. And I know what you're thinking, it is such a pain in the butt to do this, but honestly, It helps so much so that the strap doesn't stretch as much. If you have found a different way to make a strap, go ahead and do that. But for me, this is what works the best personally. So I'm gonna go ahead and do single crochet in all of these. And what I'm gonna do is basically every time I get to one end, I'm gonna be slip stitching into the next stitch and then going back and forth until I get to my third stitch. And then after that, I will meet you guys back here. All right, so I have reached the end of my strap. So now I'm going to be starting on the part where the stitch marker is. And this is where you're going to grab either your orange or your yellow. I'm going to go ahead and grab my orange. And instead of slip stitching with the black yarn, you're actually going to go ahead and do the slip stitch with the whatever color you chose, yellow or orange. And you're going to go ahead and chain one. And then from here, you can go ahead and cut off the black yarn and you can tie a knot. All right, so from here, you're going to go ahead and turn your work, and from here you're going to go ahead and do a single crochet in all the stitches all the way across, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and meet you there. So just do one single crochet in each stitch all the way until you reach the end onto the other side of the strap. All right, now that I've reached the end, so I am down to the other stitch marker on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch, chain one, and then I'm going to cut off a long tail so that I can weave in my end. From this side, you're going to do the same thing but with yellow, and then you're going to go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side for your other strap. And from there, all we really have left is to attach the little candy corn. All you really have to do is either you're sewing them or you're hot gluing them. You're going to go ahead and hot glue them just like that, and then your bag is done. Also, I know I always say to always line your bags, and if you want to learn how to line your bag, I do have a short video which I will have linked in my description, or at the end of the video you'll be able to see it. So that's pretty much how you make this candy corn bag. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I really hope it made sense. But I tried. So if you did enjoy this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below so you won't miss out on any of my future videos. And with that, I hope to see you lovely crocheters in my next video. Bye!